Welcome to today's incredible story. It all started with a boy named Bahati, a curious little fellow with a big mouth and an even bigger laugh. Bahati was sitting on his father Fahari's shoulders in the crowded market square, where everyone had gathered to see the grandest parade of the year. Today, Sultan Bakari, the most stylish ruler on the coast of Kenya, was about to unveil his newest clothes. Clothes so rare and so fine that only the wisest and most worthy could see them, or so everyone was told. As drums pounded and people chanted, little Bahati's sharp eyes scanned the crowd. The market was buzzing, and his father Fahari, who was the Sultan's closest advisor, seemed unusually tense. The air was thick with whispers and stifled giggles. The trumpet sounded, and there he was, Sultan Bakari, strutting through the square, head held high, smiling as if he wore robes made of gold and pearls. But little Bahati squinted, scratched his head, and burst into laughter. "Mama, Baba, why isn't the Sultan wearing any clothes?" Bahati shouted, his voice carrying over the drums and trumpets. Fahari gasped, his face going pale as he whispered, "Shh, Bahati." But it was too late. The crowd had heard him, and a ripple of confusion spread through the market. "What did he say?" one woman asked, stifling a giggle. "Did the boy say the Sultan's not wearing anything?" Then it hit them. Eyes widened, jaws dropped, and then, slowly but surely, laughter erupted in waves. The Sultan was parading through the town completely bare. Men laughed till they clutched their sides. Women covered their mouths in shock, and children pointed, their giggles uncontainable. But how did this happen? Let's rewind a bit, the tricksters and their plan. A few weeks before, two travelers arrived in the kingdom, men named Ahadi and Abdalla. They were quick-witted, silver-tongued, and had heard of Sultan Bakari's obsession with fine clothes. "Did you know?" Ahadi whispered as they watched the Sultan in the market. "He's so obsessed with clothes that he changes 10 times a day." Abdalla smirked, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "Then I think it's time we introduced him to a garment. That doesn't exist." With sly smiles, they went straight to the palace and proclaimed they had brought a miraculous cloth from distant lands. They described it as the finest fabric that only the wise and worthy could see. Mere fools would see nothing at all. Sultan Bakari's eyes sparkled with excitement. Invisible cloth for fools. He couldn't think of anything better. "I must have it," he cried. "Make me the finest robes this kingdom has ever seen." Ahadi and Abdalla pretended to get to work. Day and night, they sat at empty looms, moving their hands and murmuring praises to this fabric. When asked about the colors, Ahadi would gasp, "A shade of blue so deep it would shame the ocean." And Abdalla would sigh, "And the texture? Softer than the breeze itself." But of course, there was nothing there. The advisors play along. Fahari, Sultan Bakari's most trusted advisor, was sent to inspect the cloth. As he entered the workroom, he rubbed his eyes and blinked. He saw nothing. But he feared the Sultan would think him foolish, so he nodded and praised the beautiful cloth. "Such elegance, such detail," he murmured, wiping sweat from his brow. He hurried back to Sultan Bakari and assured him that the robe was truly magnificent. Then the head of security, Chiku, was sent. Like Fahari, she saw absolutely nothing but pretended to admire it, too afraid to admit she couldn't see it. "Oh, Your Majesty," she said, forcing a smile. "You will outshine the stars themselves." The Sultan was thrilled. He couldn't wait to wear these clothes that only the wise could see. Thank you for following this story up to this point. Please like and subscribe to this channel. The Grand Parade and the Truth Revealed. On the day of the grand reveal, the entire kingdom gathered. The Sultan entered the changing room, where Ahadi and Abdalla dressed him in nothing, pretending to adjust sleeves and collars. When he looked in the mirror, he saw air. But he couldn't bear the thought of being unworthy, so he grinned and convinced himself he looked spectacular. As he stepped out, the crowd tried to hold their laughter, clapping and pretending to admire his fine robes. And the Sultan walked proudly, feeling wiser than ever. But then there was Bahati, who broke the silence with a child's honesty. "Why isn't the Sultan wearing any clothes?" he shouted again, this time louder. This time there was no stopping the crowd. People laughed so hard they had tears in their eyes. Even Fahari, who had been sweating nervously, couldn't help but laugh. Sultan Bakari's face went from confident to confused, and finally to the deep red of embarrassment. But even then, he held his head high and continued his walk, pretending everything was fine. When he returned to the palace, he sent for Ahadi and Abdalla, but they were already gone, leaving only empty pockets where gold had once been. A lesson learned. From that day forward, Sultan Bakari was a humbler man. No longer did he seek admiration through flashy clothes. He realized that true worth comes from within, not from the clothes on one's back. And as for the kingdom, they learned that sometimes it takes a child's honesty to reveal the truth. Bahati became a bit of a legend, known as the boy who spoke the truth that everyone else was too afraid to see. And whenever people in the kingdom were tempted to pretend to be something they were not, they'd remember little Bahati's words and have a good laugh. And that, dear friends, is the tale of Sultan Bakari's invisible clothes. Remember, it's better to be honest and wise than to fool yourself and everyone else just to look important. The story of Sultan Bakari's invisible clothes reminds us that honesty and self-awareness are far more valuable than appearances. In our world today, where we often feel pressure to present perfect images on social media or put on facades to impress others, we risk losing sight of who we truly are. Like the Sultan, we may fear looking foolish, but true wisdom lies in embracing authenticity and being open to truth, even if it's uncomfortable. By valuing honesty and learning to laugh at ourselves, we create a world where people can connect more meaningfully and live with genuine confidence. If you loved this story, kindly comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. Cheers. Have a good one.